On the 1st of January 2024, the copyright of the first 3 Mickey Mouse animated shorts expired and all 3 entered the public domain, namely the early silent versions of Plain Crazy and the Galloping Gaucho, as well as Steamboat Willie, which has been widely reported as the first ever appearance of Mickey Mouse, when in actual fact it was his 3rd appearance. To clear this up, why don't we go back and trace the early origins of the most famous mouse in the world, sorry Jerry, and also trace the history and evolution of the most recognizable character in all of cartoondom, Mickey Mouse, or to go by his full name, Michel Mouse. And if you stick around to the end of this video, we'll also look at Mickey's entry into the public domain and what that does and does not mean, so that you, my dear viewer, do not get sued by you-know-who. On March 4, 1927, Walt Disney signed a contract with Universal Pictures to produce a series of cartoons starring his character Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who went on to appear in 27 animated short films produced at the Walt Disney Studio, with animation being headed by Disney's longtime collaborator Ub Iwerks. Incidentally, while we're on the subject, on January 1st, 2023, the copyrights on several of the original Oswald shorts, as well as the character, expired. Those films and the character are now in the public domain. Despite the Oswald series being a hit with audiences, the partnership between Disney and Universal began to fall apart, resulting in Disney eventually quitting the Oswald series. On the train ride back to California, Walt desperately brainstormed ideas for a new cartoon character in order to keep his animation studio afloat. Walt Disney would later write, quote, "He popped out of my mind onto a drawing pad 20 years ago on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood at a time when the business fortunes of my brother Roy and myself were at lowest ebb, and disaster seemed right around the corner." End quote. The result was a mouse. Another account reports that Walt Disney got the inspiration for Mickey from a tame mouse and his desk at Laugh-O-Gram's studio in Kansas City, Missouri. Either way, Disney believed that a mouse would make for a cute and sympathetic character, and also felt that mice hadn't been overused in motion pictures, allowing for Mickey to stand out against the competition of the time. Walt would later name his new character Mortimer Mouse, but his wife, Lillian Disney, disliked the name and instead suggested Mickey Mouse. Later, in the 1942 short Symphony Hour, Mickey was referred to by his full name, Michel Mouse. Disney asked Ub Iwerks to start drawing up new character ideas, and Disney began secretly producing the first Mickey Mouse films while still contractually required to finish some Oswald the Lucky Rabbit cartoons for Universal Pictures. On May 15, 1928, Mickey Mouse made his debut alongside his love interest Minnie Mouse in the animated short film Plain Crazy, co-directed by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks, the sole animator who worked on the short in a back room over a 2-week period, drawing at a rate of over 700 pictures a day. Plain Crazy featured Mickey Mouse trying to imitate Charles Lindbergh by flying a plane in a fruitless attempt to impress Minnie. Plain Crazy was previewed in theaters but failed to pick up a distributor for a broad release, and this was the same fate of the second Mickey Mouse cartoon, The Galloping Gaucho. For the third film, Disney took a gamble and added synchronized sound, a technology that had been experimented on in previous animated shorts but was still in its early stages at the time. The title of the short came from Steamboat Bill, a song that came to prominence thanks to the 1911 recording by Arthur Collins, and the tune of which is whistled by Mickey as he steers his steamboat. The short once again featured Mickey and Minnie, and also reintroduced Mickey's longtime arch nemesis Pete, who had already debuted in the cartoon Alice Solves the Puzzle in 1925, making Pete the oldest recurring Disney character. Steamboat Willie debuted in New York in January 1929 and played ahead of the independent feature film Gang War. Steamboat Willie was an instant and enormous success, while Gang War has since been lost and all but forgotten today. The popularity of Steamboat Willie was unprecedented for a cartoon, and the revenues from the film provided Walt Disney Studio with much-needed resources, allowing the studio to quickly begin producing new cartoons as well as releasing sound versions of the first 2. Mickey Mouse went on to appear in a total of 130 animated short films produced by Walt Disney Productions. In Mickey's early films, he was often characterized not as a hero, but as an ineffective young suitor to Minnie Mouse. It was only later that Mickey was depicted as a valiant hero, a sympathetic underdog, or a relatable everyman, and it was this versatility and adaptability that contributed to Mickey's universal popularity. The Opry House, released in 1929, was the first time in which Mickey wore his white gloves, while The Carnival Kid, released later that year, was the first time Mickey spoke. Before this, he had only whistled, laughed, and grunted. His first words were hot dog," said while trying to sell hot dogs at a carnival. From 1928 onward, Mickey was intermittently voiced by Walt Disney himself, although composer Carl W. Stalling provided the lines for Mickey in the 1929 shorts The Carnival Kid and Wild Waves. Shortly before the release of the 1930 The Cactus Kid, Ub Iwerks left to start his own studio. Disney and his remaining staff continued the production of the Mickey Mouse series, although story artists at Disney were finding it increasingly difficult to write material for Mickey. As he had developed into a role model for children, they were limited in the types of gags they could present, leading to Mickey taking more of a secondary role in some of his next films, allowing for more emphasis on other characters. In 1934, Mickey Mouse made his only appearance in a non-Disney movie when he made a brief cameo in the MGM-produced film Hollywood Party, which also starred Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy, and Jimmy Durante. Mickey first appeared animated in color in Parade of the Award nominees in 1932. However, the film strip was created for the 5th Academy Award ceremony and was not released to the public. Mickey's official first color film came in 1935 with the band concert, which featured Mickey conducting the William Tell Overture while the band is swept up by a tornado. Conductor Arturo Costanini reportedly loved the short so much that after seeing it for the first time, he asked the projectionist to run it again. In 1994, the band concert was voted the 3rd greatest cartoon of all time in a poll of animation professionals. By colorizing and partially redesigning Mickey, Walt would put Mickey back on top once again, and Mickey would reach popularity he never reached before. However, by 1938, the more manic Donald Duck would surpass the passive Mickey, resulting in a further redesign of the mouse between 1938 and 1940 that put Mickey at the peak of his popularity. The second half of the 1930s also saw the character Goofy reintroduced as a series regular. Together, Mickey, Donald Duck and Goofy would go on many adventures together, with several of these films being considered some of Mickey's most critically acclaimed. During this era, Mickey would also star in the 1938 short Brave Little Tailor, an adaptation of The Valiant Little Tailor, and which was nominated for an Academy Award. In 1940, Mickey appeared in his first feature-length film, Fantasia. His screen role as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, set to the symphonic poem of the same name by Paul Dukas, is perhaps the most famous segment of the film, and one of Mickey's most iconic roles. In 1941, Mickey Mouse won his first and only Academy Award, along with his canine companion Pluto, for the animated short film Lend a Paw. After this time, Mickey's popularity would decline until his 1955 re-emergence as a daily children's television personality. Despite this, the character continued to appear intermittently in animated shorts until 1952. In these later cartoons, Mickey was often just a supporting character in his own shorts, where Pluto would be the main character. The last regular installment of the Mickey Mouse film series came in 1953 with The Simple Things, in which Mickey and Pluto go fishing and are pestered by a flock of seagulls. The Simple Things would be the last Mickey Mouse short produced by Walt Disney. In the 1950s, Mickey became more known for his appearances on television, particularly with the Mickey Mouse Club. Mickey finally returned to theatrical animation in 1983 with Mickey's Christmas Carol, an adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, and in which Mickey played Bob Cratchit. Mickey's Christmas Carol was the first original Mickey Mouse theatrical cartoon produced in over 30 years, and this was followed up in 1990 with The Prince and the Pauper, inspired by Mark Twain's 1881 novel of the same name. Throughout the decades, Mickey Mouse competed with Warner Bros.' Bugs Bunny for animated popularity, but in 1988, the two rivals finally shared screen time in the Robert Zemeckis film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Disney and Warner signed an agreement stating that each character would have the same amount of screen time in the scene. Later that same year, Mickey shared screen time with Roger Rabbit himself, along with other animated and live-action celebrities in the special episode of The Magical World of Disney entitled Mickey's 60th Birthday. Mickey made another cameo appearance in the 1990 television special The Muppets at Walt Disney World, where he met Kermit the Frog and the rest of the Muppets. Mickey and Kermit are depicted in the story as having been old friends. 1995 saw Mickey's return to the horror genre in the original short Runaway Brain. And then in 2013 appeared in the first Mickey Mouse cartoon short in 18 years entitled Get a Horse, the first in a series simply entitled Mickey Mouse, with animator Paul Rudish at the helm, incorporating elements of Mickey's early 20th century look with a contemporary twist. Mickey went on to appear in direct-to-video features Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, The Three Musketeers, and the computer-animated Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. Many television series in the 21st century have centered on Mickey, such as the ABC shows Mickey Mouse Works, Disney's House of Mouse, the Disney Channel's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures, and Mickey Mouse Funhouse. In August 2018, ABC Television announced a 2-hour primetime special, Mickey's 90th Spectacular, in honor of Mickey's 90th birthday, and featured never-before-seen short videos and several celebrity cameo appearances. In December 2019, both Mickey and Minnie served as special co-hosts of Wheel of Fortune for 2 weeks, and in 2022, Mickey was the subject of the documentary film Mickey, The Story of a Mouse, directed by Jeff Malmberg. The feature was accompanied by an original, hand-drawn animated short film starring Mickey titled Mickey in a Minute. And most recently, Mickey appeared in Walt Disney Animation Studios' centennial short film, Once Upon a Studio, in which he gathers the characters of Disney's animated features together to take a group photo. On January 1st, 2024, the copyrights of the first 3 animated Mickey Mouse cartoons, Plain Crazy, The Galloping Gaucho, and the sound cartoon Steamboat Willie, as well as their portrayals of Mickey Mouse, expired, and all 3 entered the public domain. Since these works are no longer owned by Disney, they are free for anyone to use, adapt, reproduce, or distribute for commercial and non-commercial purposes. Newer versions of Mickey Mouse will remain copyright protected, and Mickey Mouse himself remains trademarked. This would keep people from making, for example, a Mickey Mouse slasher movie, which someone actually did when Winnie the Pooh went into the public domain last year. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This video was requested by you, the viewer, so keep those requests coming in. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and stay tuned for more cartoon history.